Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you listen to this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. And that community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. Now, today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Donna. Welcome, Donna.
Hi, Extus. It's really lovely to be here.
Awesome. It's great having you here. So, Donna, tell myself and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
Okay, so I am a mindset transformation and success coach,
Mm-hmm,
and I'm also a rapid transformational therapy practitioner.
mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. So, what's your background before you became a mindset coach and into the short term for it is? Is it RTT? Is that what
Yes,
you
it
refer to
is.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
RTT. That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. What did you do before you got started?
Yeah, so my background was through corporate. Previous to this role, I was actually managing a site of 13 blocks and a few teams and doing project management and all sorts of things. And, I spent probably 12 years in the property industry. And then, before kind of jumping into when I had the chance to do entrepreneurship, I thought, well, here's my chance. I'm going to go for it. So,
Yeah. Awesome. And why mindset coaching?
yeah. So one of the biggest things that I've really encountered is I find that, when I've done pivoting in my, even in my own personal development and my career and things like that. But what I find is that mindset affects so much. And when I was managing my team and also as I was dealing with clients, I was finding that a lot of the time mindset gets in the way, and they might have these massive dreams or, these big goals, and they might have all of the strategy in place, but without the mindset, they really just can't move forward and they feel really stuck. So, I ever since then, I've been really passionate about it, just learning as much as I can, developing myself, doing all sorts of certifications and things, and, moving it forward to doing RTT.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, how do you define mindset?
Mindset. So mindset for me is really about the belief system. So as we are, say from birth till about 7 years old, we are, conditioned by the things around us, by our parents, the environment, the society, and we are in a theta state at that point, which means that all of the information just gets soaked in. So whether or not we are aware of it, naturally, we just soak all of the information in. And by the time we're 8 years old, we have formed our core beliefs. And that really forms the way of our thoughts, which then predicts our actions and the way we go about in the world. And as you might have heard before, where focus goes, energy flows, or it just goes into, you basically attract all of the things. So if you believe that, oh well, life is hard, then you're going to attract all of the information that proves to you that life is hard, and it forms this belief system, and basically it then starts to limit you on that basis. And I think, our belief system is really the key to what is going to help us succeed in whatever it is that we do.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, love it. So you said from the age of like when we were just born to 7 years old, we're in a theta state. You said the brainwave.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's
What
right.
what is
Yeah.
what is theta? What's that state?
Yeah, so it's like the state that we would go in the scientific kind of terms, is we go into a theta state when we are, say we were going just before bedtime, or as we're waking up from sleep. So it's kind of a state where your subconscious is a lot more kind of, it takes a lot more information in. So in fact, if you were to say, want to do your affirmations, or you really want to give yourself a message or download a lot more information, if you were to listen to these things at nighttime before bedtime, as your conscious kind of goes down, and or in the morning as you wake up, as your consciousness comes up again, you're in that state. It's like a brainwave, that we enter in. And so, when the opportune time, if we really want to try and take as much information in, that would be the times that you would enter those brainwaves. So we do still have them. It's just that most of the time when in our conscious state, we will just be able to learn sort of more on a repetitive basis. So we have to go over the information again and again and again. But the theta state really dictates just before, as we're kind of going into self-hypnosis, if you like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're saying with the theta state is one of those states where the stuff you learn on there in that state is more based on like the subconscious type of level?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, you kind of, it goes straight in, like it's almost as if like you're downloading straight to the subconscious. As the subconscious controls about 90-95% of what we do. And so when you are in that, in that state of when you enter the theta state, that really kind of like is where you download a lot more of the information.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Interesting. Okay, good. So what do you see in terms of, and you said that's ultimately, so, and tell us about the people, the individuals that you help. Tell us about them.
Yes. So I mostly help the people that are, I work with a lot of women, and women that are in a 9 to 5 job that wants to really be maybe doing something else in their life, maybe pivoting from a 9 to 5, and perhaps going into something that really is like purpose driven, something that really, it's soul led, perhaps into entrepreneurship, maybe helping people as well, doing service-based businesses and things like that. So I find that, unlike me, myself, I've had to figure out everything, and I set up a couple of different businesses at the same time and just did everything myself without any strategy. So really what I do is I help, the people or the women that have ambition to do entrepreneurship, and rather than kind of jumping ship, I help them kind of develop a strategy so they can start their business before and get something in place so that they're comfortable and confident, and to move their business forward, and really, before they go and quit their jobs, and hopefully not sort of make the same, spinning the wheels as I did.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you see in terms of most of the issues individuals face, women individuals face when they start a business, it's mostly mindset?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, a lot of the things that I find are specifically similar things when I was doing a lot of research, and also with the women that I work with. There's a lot of issue, for example, around money, the finances. As if you're in a 9 to 5, people are like, oh, it's got a bit of security. You've got that income financially that's coming in month by month by month. So that's quite a big issue. But also that is around mindset as well, because there is such a thing as money mindset. Sometimes we have this cap of, oh, I can only earn so much, and and when you're in, like, say you're earning 50 grand, and you think, oh, that's the next step must be 60, it must be 70, and actually that's a mindset thing. Another thing that they might encounter is that they might say imposter syndrome, when they think that, oh, I don't really know enough, or maybe they might think that I'm a fraud because I don't have enough qualifications, I don't have enough experience, I don't have enough of this. And there's a lot of self-doubt, and there's also a lot of self-sabotage. When you really want something, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go and do it, and then you procrastinate about it, and you just kind of leave things to the last minute, or you don't do it at all, and you talk yourself out of it. So there's a lot of things in play that actually does affect them from really taking the leap and really getting through that. So what I do in my, with my way of coaching, is that I combine the mindset transformation and success coaching with RTT, so that we can then form a strategy that will create that success that's completely specific and unique to them, and also break down those barriers. Because what I've found is that, you know, as I know myself, that you can just go on and do your work consciously and work on your mind consciously, but what the pictures that you have consciously is not necessarily what the mind has in the subconscious state, you know. And it's so interesting, and it's so fast and it's so effective that, you know, when you go into your subconscious and you figure out, you know, exactly what's wrong, and then you start to understand why you're doing that, the things that you're doing wrong. And what I love about RTT is that it combines other, you know, modalities such as NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and cognitive behavior therapy, as well as psychotherapy, all in one. You know, so it combines all of that, and you really get into the nitty gritty of things. You figure things out, and it's that understanding that you get in hypnosis that really does make a difference. So I just find that in combination is really powerful, and it just helps my clients like just power through, you know, what it is that they need, and it's just a quick process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what about how do we make decisions? Is decisions, I know it's a kind of like an unconscious, most of decisions are unconscious, but what influences that? Is it the pictures we make, sounds we hear? What do you,
Yeah. So it generally is, you know, our mind holds on to the pictures, you know. So there's two ways that our mind kind of has these, you know, it's the pictures that we show our mind, as well as the words that we tell ourselves. Those are the two things that it really does grasp. And so, you know, I'm not sure if you've done a test before where, like, you know, if you imagine that you were sucking a lemon, you know, you usually get that feeling of, you know, the sourness and stuff, and you get the salivating thing going on and stuff like that. And actually, it's not real, you know, but our mind can't tell the difference. If you were showing it that you were eating this lemon, it doesn't know that that's not real unless we tell it it's not real. And similarly, when we tell ourselves, oh, you are useless at doing this, or, you know, that's not going to work, then that also affects us quite a lot as well.
mm-hmm. Okay. Now, how does someone, so tell us more about you said RTT, right? Tell us more about a bit about that.
Yeah, so RTT is has been developed by Marissa Peer. She is been voted one of the best therapists in Britain, and she's been doing this for 30 years. So she's really combined, you know, everything that she's known, and put it all together from what's worked over the 30 years of her career, and made sure that it is really, you know, it is really powerful and it works. So it combines the positive aspects of like hypnotherapy, but it goes beyond hypnotherapy. But you do need to kind of go into that hypnosis state and access the subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind holds the key. That's where everything is, because consciously, and I know this from the many RTT sessions that I've done, a lot of my clients go, wow, I've never even thought that that would be possible. I mean, I've been in, you know, in some of the pictures, I mean, going back to even like childbirth, you know what I mean? And being sort of like just at that moment of being born, you know, and your mind has that in itself. And you're thinking, okay, well, consciously, you're not going to realize that. You're not going to remember things when you were just being born, when you're like 2 years old and you're performing on a stage. Like, you wouldn't necessarily remember those consciously, but your subconscious mind does. And what happens is that as a child, when we're looking at these images and all of the things that are being said, we translate everything as a child, which normally means that as a child, you wouldn't really know any better. You won't really necessarily understand. And when we get into a situation where we might act up in our adult life, and we think, why am I doing this? and you don't really understand. And it's because your inner child has decided at that point that life is a certain way. And that's why when you go into the subconscious mind, you change that meaning. You go in there and you reframe the meaning, and you give it a new meaning. So when you get that understanding of what's really happening inside, and it's just absolutely amazing, and it never ceases to amaze me how much information there actually is. And when you can understand yourself at the subconscious level, it really is a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, and how does so you said with the RTT, you said someone has to be in of like a hypnotic state or something, like how does it work? What's the process? How does it work?
Yeah, so you obviously I would walk the client through kind of go into a hypnosis state.
Mm-hmm.
We go into a hypnosis state. It's actually more of a self hypnosis state, because if you imagine you're driving a car, you usually just zone out, and the next thing you know, you're at home, right? Or you're at, and you're just so used to it, you just go on autopilot all the time. Or when you're watching TV, you kind of zone out a little bit. So there's obviously some techniques, a couple of scientific techniques that is used to kind of put you down into hypnosis. But it's not really about being asleep. It's just a sleep of the nervous system, so that your conscious mind can just kind of go away to a little bit on the side, and then your subconscious mind then basically takes control. Because sometimes in a state you could probably be like, sometimes your conscious mind comes back and goes, oh, I don't know if this is working or anything like that, you know what I mean? And you kind of have to trust the process. But it's about being in a really, really relaxed state. So it's when you're in the hypnotic state, and a lot of people probably think, oh gosh, it's like stage hypnosis. It's nothing at all like stage hypnosis. If you didn't want to tell me something, you don't have to say to me. You'd say, no, I'm not comfortable about telling you about this, at all. I can't make people do things, while in that state, and they can argue with me if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So you are still in control, or rather your subconscious mind is in control. It is a little bit easier to talk about things, because when you're in that really relaxed state and you feel so at ease, and the things that you might not consciously talk about, you feel so much better to just say it, and it's so much easier to just say it. But if you really don't want to, you want to withhold that information, you will just say no thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, and is that this? So that's what RTT is basically putting someone in that state and then helping them through the process.
Yeah, so we go into sort of like a hypnotic state,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously if say for example the client is working on their problem about procrastinating and self-sabotage, we will ask a specific thing. It might not necessarily be that certain words, but depending on what the client says. So we might ask the subconscious mind to go back to a scene, a place, event, and time where that procrastination basically started. And we go and review those scenes that is being shown. And then from those scenes, we start to unravel it. We start to understand it. And then, once you then understand it, you start to reframe it and give it a new meaning. So there's a few different steps that we take. There are a few different tools that's inside of it, things like upgrading the child. Because obviously when you are in a state where, you are talking to the inner child, sometimes you have to bring them up into the present and upgrade them, things like that. So there's a few different tools within it. And like I mentioned before, it is, combining things that have got to do with like NLP and CBT, about reframing and really finding the meaning.
Mm-hmm. What is CBT?
Yeah, so it's cognitive behavior therapy. It's it's just something that, when you go into, there's a lot of different therapies obviously that's available out there today. So cognitive behavior therapy is, when you're starting to find the meaning of things, when you're doing reframing and things like that. So reframing is probably the one that we use the most in terms of the tool in there. But as with NLP as well, it's just basically, like say with NLP, you're trying to create new neural patterns, neural paths, and that is also achieved by going through these scenes and doing the reframing. So it kind of molds it into one, but essentially it is about going back into the behavior, and going back to the thought patterns, and then trying to reframe that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Love it. Love it. That's some fascinating stuff. Now, the question becomes, if someone wants to learn more, because you definitely know a lot about this topic here, if someone wants to learn more and be able to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to be able to connect?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to connect with me, you can just go to my website. It's corulife.co.uk, and you can also connect with me. I have via my Facebook page, which is the same Coral Life Transformation, and just send me a DM or send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to set up a consultation, to if you wanted to just find out a little bit more about it, and whether or not, or how it might be able to be suitable for you on what you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Donna. And guys, if you're watching this on the live or the replay, the links to connect with Donna, they will either be right above or below the video. So you can click and get connected right to her. Well, Donna, hey, thank you so much for showing up here today and sharing with the community what it is that you do. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure to be here, and I love your community, and I think you're doing wonderful things.
Awesome, thank you. Well, enjoy, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. All right then.